Hi, I'm Lori. This is GLP-1 Journey in Review. Today we're doing a video in my interview series where we talk to people about their weight loss journey. Today we have with us Chris, who's also a content creator. His information is going to be linked down below in the description. I want to remind everybody that I am not a healthcare provider. My guest is not a healthcare provider. We're talking about what works for us. If you find this useful at all, please hit that thumbs up and subscribe button. And when you're done watching this, hop on over to Chris's channel and do the same. All that being said, Chris, why don't you tell us a little something about yourself?
Lori, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. You're the first collaboration and networking I've really done since starting the GLP-1 channel and all. But so my name's Chris. A little bit about me and what I'm doing here, I guess, is I've always been a chunky boy, and always tried to work against that and lose weight here and there. But I just had trouble sticking with it and had trouble focusing on getting it done, and whatever plan I followed or diet I followed, I struggled, like so many other people do. And then talked to my doctor about some weight loss options, and his suggestion was to get cut open and have surgery. And my insurance didn't cover it. I said, anything else? And he goes, no, I think that's pretty much it. Good luck. And I said, well, it's not going to work for me. And I said, what about some of this medication that's out there? He says, you know what? I kind of like the GLP-1s. I'm just not ready to prescribe them. So good luck with that. So I ditched him, found another doctor, and got prescribed Zepbound, and I've been on it since May of this past year, and it has just forever made everything easier. Again, it's not what I always tell people, it's not the weight loss drug that makes you lose weight. It just gives you the assistance and the help that you need to lose the weight. And so all the weight loss stuff I had learned and put in place prior, the diets and understanding and concepts I understood prior, all came into effect the same, but just expanded upon, because now I had
Mhm.
the food noise silenced and everything silenced, and I had this aid, this tool that helped me stick to it this time. And that's really the big thing that I think it did. And I found channels out there and learned from channels and people out there that were going through the same thing. And I said, okay, I'm not hearing a lot of the voices that sound like my story necessarily. A lot of them are female, and I think that's fine. We were just talking about one a
Mhm.
moment ago that I admire and kind of gave me the boot in the comments to get going with the channel. Nikki over at the GLB Girl Code, which was not the name of the channel when I started following it. But yeah, I've learned from everybody here and there, but I didn't hear a lot of male voices, or I didn't hear a lot of male voice in the
Mhm.
U.S., or some that didn't match my story. And I said, you know what? It couldn't hurt to have another voice out there. So I figured I'd just start
Mhm.
sharing my journey a little bit, tips and tricks that I've learned, and my perspective, whether it's in line with everybody else or not. It's worked for me for the most part, and I've made some hiccups here and there, and if I can help somebody else avoid them, I'm all about it. So that's pretty much why I started the channel, and I'm just sharing a little bit about my journey as I go.
Perfect. Why Zepbound as opposed to Wegovy?
Well, Zepbound is what he wanted to prescribe because he thought it would be more effective with the GLP and the
Mhm.
GIP combo in there. Insurance covered it. I also have sleep
Mhm.
apnea along with, I guess, other stuff that qualified. And he goes, we're going to go for Zepbound. I said, that sounds great. I know nothing about it, so that's cool. I'll look into it a little bit. And we went with that. Fast forward to January 1st, 2026. Our insurance changed. We went to CVS Caremark with our insurance. Apparently, they went to them with prescription. And for those of you that don't know, CVS Caremark is not covering Zepbound. I guess they got some beef with Eli Lilly or something, but they are doing Wegovy. And Zepbound was 100% covered by my insurance. Wegovy is covered by my new insurance. I don't think at 100%, but it'll help out. So we're going to make that transition. But before we jumped over there, I knew I could get 3 months covered by the insurance. So like 2 or 3 days before the end of the year, I said, go ahead and place me an order, buddy. So I got about 3 months worth of Zepbound that we went ahead and ordered. So I've got that to last probably through most of March. And then we'll make the transition to Wegovy and see how that goes. And I'm excited to see how that does transition, because I know there's not a
Mhm.
1-to-1 ratio and all that. And again, I'm not finding a lot of people who have transitioned from one to the other, but I know people have. So I don't know. I'll document
Mhm.
that as well, and maybe that'll help somebody if they have to do it.
You know, the good thing to know is you could always go back to Zepbound and with Lilly Direct or
Yeah,
even Compound Route. There are other options,
absolutely.
but I know a lot of people that have transitioned to Wegovy, and they're fine. It may not be quite as quick, but it's not a race.
Right.
So, are you going to have to start all over when you go to Wegovy, or don't you know yet?
I have no idea what we're gonna do. Um,
Mm.
and then my doctor's super cool. My new doctor.
Mm-hmm.
He actually the great thing about this, and I'm a huge advocate for this, finding a doctor that actually wants to see you
Absolutely.
thrive. My doctor before just kind of wanted to see me be alive and stick around, and gave me, some of the stuff that I need to get from day to day. This new doctor's like, what can we help you with? Let's check your testosterone. You're already on some. You know what? It's not where I want it to be. Go ahead and let's take some more. Hey, you know what? I noticed in your blood work for consistently now, you've been a little low on vitamin D. Let's get you some vitamin D medicine. And it's just the little things that he just wants to see me thrive and be the best version of
Mm-hmm.
me. And I just, oh, I'm so grateful that I found this guy. Well, I say guy, it's him and his wife on the practice. I see him more than her,
Mm-hmm.
so I just usually refer to
Right.
them as him, I guess. But yeah, they're both fantastic. They're awesome. And yeah, he said, it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. There's not a lot of studies out there that compare them and say, oh, well, if you're on 7.5, you need to be on this if you move over. He says, so we'll figure it out. And if it doesn't work,
Mhm.
we'll change it. We'll move it. He's super fluid, super open to looking at anything and everything. So fortunately for me, I found somebody like that. I know not everybody has
Right.
that opportunity, but for me, again, my unique story compared to everybody else's as well, that's the route we're going. And he's super fluid. So we may jump on I forget what it is. I think they go to the 0.25 and the point 0.5 or whatever. So we may start at the
Right.
beginning and see how it works. But like you said, it's not a race to it. I know in my thumbnails and
Mhm.
stuff, I'll often put, 80 pounds down in 6 months. And this it's eye catching. Don't get me wrong. And it's
Mhm.
truthful. It really happened. Um, but it's not a race. And I was talking to somebody the other day, and slow and steady tends to kind of win the race, because if you do get off of it, I know there's a lot of people that think this is lifelong medication. A lot of people think that it's
Mhm.
a get on it till you get where you need to be and maintain, and then you can get off of it. Different strokes for different folks on that one. But if you ever did want to get off the medication and go it alone, I think you're better off going slower and losing the weight slower, because you've made those
Mhm.
minor adjustments along the way instead of those huge shifts in calorie deficit or calorie expenditure and working out or whatever it may be. um, I just tell people, don't don't worry if you're losing a little slower than others. Like you said, it's not a race. It's kind of like when you graduate from
Mhm.
college or high school or whatever. They don't put your GPA on there. They don't put how
Yeah.
long it took you to earn it. They just said, did you earn it or did you not? That's it. Well, I guess technically they only put did you earn it, but my point's still valid. I think that if you lose your weight, you lost your weight. Doesn't matter how long it takes you to get there, how many hiccups you had along the way, or any of that. If you started here and you
Mhm.
end here and you feel good, that's what it's all about: being healthier and happier in life.
Is 80 pounds what you lost?
80 pounds is what I lost in 6 months. This past, I weigh every day, but Fridays are my official weigh-in
Mhm.
days. There, I track them.
Mhm.
And this Friday, I was at 90 pounds down. So I've hit 90
Wow.
now. And my goal, Valentine's is coming up. It's also we got married on Valentine's, my wife and I. So it's also our anniversary. And my goal, when I got started, I was like, man, if I could lose 100 pounds by then, I know that's a lot, but if I could, that'd be really cool. And it's actually within range now. I think it's a little outside of what I'm comfortable losing. And what are we, 1 month out now, I guess, roughly. So, I may not get there, and that's okay. It's okay. But yeah, I was start at 377, and the goal that I had in mind was 180, is about where I felt comfortable last that I can remember. And even then, I was still a little bigger, but I figured if I tack
Mhm.
on a little bit of muscle, I'd be okay with 180. So anywhere between 180 200, I think would probably be good. We'll see when we get there, but long ways to go. And just seeing that number go from that first number in the weight go from a 3 to a 2 was really exciting. Seeing the numbers change from 80 down to 90 down, knowing that 100's coming up very soon, it's exciting. It's just super exciting, and it's motivating. And I do know that that's one thing with
Mhm.
losing weight faster, is you get that motivation, that dopamine hit of seeing that number change, and it's like, all right, we're on the right track. And if you don't, it's discouraging, but at the same time, just changing the mindset. And really, I hadn't gotten into it yet on my channel, but the channel is called Chris Conquers the Scale. And a lot of it is about the mindset of what the scale tells you.
Mhm.
And it doesn't tell you the whole story. And so I've got some videos I'll be doing over the next several weeks that kind of go more into that, because I think a lot of people beat themselves up on the scale based off of what it says. So I'm definitely going to be heading in that direction, because I want us to conquer the scale and not the scale to conquer us, and determine how we're going to live day to day, even though it itself is a tool that we need, a vital tool. It shouldn't be the end all be all for everything.
Absolutely. I'm backtracking a little bit with the doctor because I know my original doctor was just, "No, no, just eat less, work harder."
Mhm.
And then I went to another one who, well, I could prescribe it, but, I really don't know that much about it. Then I went to another doctor, like, I know a little bit about it, but I would really feel more comfortable if you either went to a telehealth platform for that, and I'll just manage it, or an obesity specialist. And I do praise her honesty. Now, what do you think it's going to take for these doctors to get educated? Because I know most people go to their GP, or just whoever they normally go to, as opposed to a specialist.
I don't know. Tough to say. It seems like they were all experts and pros when the COVID vaccine came out, like instantaneously. And these GLP-1s have been out for a while, and studies have been done on them.
Hmm.
I don't know how long term the studies are necessarily for everything or every one of them, but there's enough information out there. I think they could be educated enough and supportive if they wanted to. I think, and this is the dark side, the
Hmm.
whatever you want to call it, the conspiracy theory part of my brain. Um, Obesity is such a huge thing in this country, especially, but all over the world, but especially in America. It's so profitable. Think of Hydroxycut and all
Hmm.
these other weight loss and supplements and everything that's out there that exists. They can start losing their market if everybody loses weight. And think about the we see with Snap. I think is another thing, Snap EBT or whatever, where they're taking candies and all this stuff off of it, and those companies are freaking out. Well, the same thing for us
Hmm.
losing weight. Us losing weight, we're not going to be eating sweets quite as much. Poor M&M company, Mars or whoever they are, they could go under if we quit eating all those M&Ms. And heaven forbid I quit eating Oreos, but yeah, it's a possibility. Uh, but not that you have to completely give all that up. I
Hmm.
enjoy all that stuff, but in moderation, of course. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a big money market, honestly, that we all stay this
Absolutely.
way. And doctors, they like nice things just like anybody else. And the more unhealthy you are, the more you have to visit, and the more medication you need, and the more perks they get from their companies and all. Again, I don't want to necessarily go down that conspiracy theory rabbit hole too much on here, but and I don't plan on doing that normally, but I think they're at risk of losing one of their biggest customers if we all really get on board and get the weight under control.
Absolutely. I mean, look at grocery stores are having to adapt. Starbucks now has a high protein menu, and they have protein coffees. I think Chipotle now has protein
Yeah.
menu. I mean, they're all trying to get on the bandwagon
I even
because
got a I
they
even got an
feel the
email.
loss.
I even got an email from Waffle House having a high protein bowl. I said, "You got to be kidding me, Waffle
Oh,
House of all places." Yeah, I mean, I dig breakfast. Breakfast is a great place to get high protein and all, but a lot of high fat and cholesterol in those meals too. But yeah, they had like a new protein bowl they came out with, and okay, all right, Waffle House, I see you. I see you. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So, what does a typical day of food look like for you now?
So usually I will plan out ahead of time, and sometimes it takes a while. But when I look at the sales ads that come out on Wednesday for the stores I go shopping at, I'll base my grocery shopping off of that, my menus off of that, everything off of that. And I have a little tracker that I have linked in all my show notes and stuff. It's just a spreadsheet I've always used. And I was like, I'll make it available for folks. But I would put all the meals in there, but then I would go to my calorie counter app and put those meals in too, and then start adjusting, the quantities, or How, am I doing 90 grams of something? Or am I doing 2 ounces of this or that or whatever? And I've got my little goal set in there for my protein and my calories. And I really don't care about the fat or carbs quite as much, but protein and calories are my two big measures. So I'll look at that and I'll start adjusting everything per day per my meal. And that way, every day I don't have to think about it. I can just look at my sheet and go, okay, that's what I'm eating today. And then I can look at the calorie counter app and adjust the measurements if I didn't already meal prep it individually. But a typical morning could be something as simple as I still like my coffee with sugar and creamer. I'm trying to get to black coffee, but it's my one thing, I guess. But
Mhm.
sometimes I'll have a cup of coffee. I may have a couple of scrambled eggs or something like that. Boom, done for breakfast. That's it. I work from home, so I do have the luxury of going in there and whipping something up if I had to, and cooking that's pretty simple on a morning break. And then lunch, I'll usually meal prep something, whether it's a little mock Chipotle bowl like I did this week with chicken,
Mhm.
a lot of chicken, or steak or whatnot. Or I'll do like a chicken or steak hibachi little meal. A lot of times it's going to be my protein with usually rice or something in that ballpark with some vegetables. And that's it. And I may use a little bit of sauces, but I try to use low calorie, low carb sauces. That's been fun trying to find fun alternatives that actually taste good. And I've been very fortunate to find a few. And then some I'm like, nah, got to use the real thing. I just can't do it.
Mhm.
But something I've meal prepped, and then for dinner, it'll either be something I meal prepped as well, or if I'm doing something with the family because they're not on a diet, and I do have a wife and a daughter, and I'm the cook of the house, so I'll go in there and I'll whip up something, and if again, I'll I'll plan everything rather, so I'll know ahead of time, am I eating what they're eating that night, or do I have a meal prep I need to pull out, and I base it off of how I plan it. So like today we had a pot roast. I had pot roast with chuck roast in there. Had some of the potatoes. They don't care for carrots. I had some carrots. Made some purple whole peas, which looks like black eyed peas. I don't know the difference really, but
Mhm.
made some of those. And they had some crescent rolls. I did not. Let's see, they had some fried okra. I may have had a couple of pieces of that, but yeah, like that was kind of the lunch there. And then I just had a little
Mhm.
protein bar a little while ago, Bear Bells, which are delicious. And I ate so much today, I may not even eat anything for dinner tonight. In fact, I'm still full right now. But but yeah, I usually try to do a breakfast, a lunch, a dinner, or at least lunch and dinner. Sometimes I skip breakfast.
Mhm.
Sometimes the coffee is my breakfast. It just depends on what the overall calories are for the day when I plan it out.
Mhm.
Do I need to squeeze in a little bit more calories? Do I have enough room in my calories to squeeze in some more protein? And so it's a mathematical game, but I am an IT nerd, and so I like all the data and all the numbers and stuff like that. So I play around with it, but it varies by day, of course. But I do kind of stick to the same meals. You kind of get in that habit, I think, when you meal prep so much. It's like I know what these calories are. I
Mhm.
know this is easy to make and easy to reheat. So yeah, that's it.
So I don't get a chance to interview too many guys because it seems like more females are on the medication and having channels. I've interviewed and follow Round Mound is Zepbound.
Mhm,
Of course, Christopher from the Downsize,
mhm.
Monjero with Allie and so forth. But why do you think it is more females on the medication than males?
Well, I guess two things. I think guys don't really care so much in general about their weight that comparative to most ladies. I don't think men really care that much. Like I got a beer gut, I don't care whatever it is, what it is. I've always been fat. I ain't worried about that. You know, I, I don't know what it is about us. I don't think we care that much. But then obviously there's a handful that do. There's a lot that do, whether it's health related or just I'm tired of being this way and I want to look better. And I think a lot of that is a societal thing where women are usually more under the microscope and judged
Mhm.
on their appearances a lot more than the fellas. So I think that's a huge aspect of it. Women want to do that more. And then women are more self or health conscious rather of not just themselves but their families as the as the moms, as the
Mhm.
caretakers and or whatever that just that natural motherhood and caring side and whatnot. A gal come home, slap some hamburger helper together and throw it on the table, whereas a mom may want a more balanced meal. I'm not saying everybody, of course, is not universal. Like I said, I'm the
Mhm.
cook of the house. I like to make balanced meals, but yeah, I think that's a big aspect of it, and doctors probably even do that too because they know they can push it on the ladies more because they are a little bit more sensitive to the societal responses of their appearances and whatnot. But yeah, I think a big part of it is society and what we've groomed through, the media or societal norms or expectations or what have you. I looked at my demographics of my audience, and most of them are women, and so
Mhm.
I think it's just that way. And plus, there's a huge stigma. And I'm a filmmaker and I've done some videography work. And one of my favorite projects I ever did was a mental health video for a gym that I was part of at one point in time. And there's such a huge stigma, not just around people opening up about their mental health or getting help for their mental health, but specifically for men, because men really struggle to open up and talk about things like that without being
Mhm.
judged or used against them or whatever. And so I think there's probably some stigma with that as well, especially with GLP-1s. I mean, everybody's like, oh, you're on that Ozempic. Ho, 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 you cheating and all this and that. And just so much judgment and stigma around all that in general. Guys, we just want to avoid the drama. So I think there's another element of that as well. Guys are just over it. They don't want to deal with all that goes into it. So I don't know. I think it comes from a couple of different angles.
Now you mentioned, some, sleep apnea. Did you have any, like, high cholesterol or high blood pressure, anything like that? And if you have, has it gotten better?
So never had high blood pressure. Actually, my blood pressure's gotten higher since on the medication, but I think it's because I'm actually at a new doctor, and I think their cuff is just crazy. I don't know. But when I give blood pressure is great. But when I go there, it seems to be a little higher. Maybe I'm just nervous. I don't know. But no,
White coat syndrome.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. My mom's had that forever too. Speaking of my mom and her side and all, they've had the high cholesterol, and so I have had high cholesterol. We started the medication for that pretty much. I can't remember if we started that when I started seeing him or just before I left the other doctor.
Mhm.
But we've revisited blood work a little bit here and there, but I haven't seen my full kind of wrap
Mhm.
up of an update of that. I'm really excited though because I'm analytical of everything. Being a nerd, I just love it, and so I've been looking like what can I do to adjust this number and get it where I need to be, and I'll look it up online and I'll talk to the doctor and it's like workout more. Like boom, cool, got it. I'm going to do that. What can I do to change this? What can I do to change that? And so I'm hoping to see through everything that we've put in place and everything that I've implemented in the lifestyle change I've done that the cholesterol levels are getting better. I know they have because of the medication. I would love to see that they're even more impactful now that the
Mhm.
weight loss has been so significant and those numbers change. The sleep apnea, I'm still using the CPAP. I had my nephew over a couple of weeks ago, and me and him crashed on the couch, and I did not have the CPAP, and I did notice that I was still waking up a little bit, and I was like, okay, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet, but I wasn't waking up like I used to. So there may be some little subtle changes there. Not enough for me to say definitively that this has really made such a huge difference, be it
Mhm.
the medication or the weight loss itself. But yeah, I think we're moving in the right direction. I just need more data and more trials to kind of say definitively, yes, this has done this for me. But we're getting closer. From everything I can tell, we're getting there. But yeah, I expect better results in the very near future from all that for the cholesterol and the sleep apnea for
Right.
sure.
So somewhere between 80 and the 90 pounds down, you've gotta be feeling better.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, a lot more energy. I'm a little upset that my clothes look a little funky on me, but that's okay. I used to work in retail and in a department store, and I bagged up and boxed up a lot of nice branded clothes and everything out in the garage, and I've it's been cool. I've been able to open boxes and be like, I'm almost there. I can get into that though. And so there's been a few things I've been able to bust out and wear. Some things I'm looking forward to getting into next. But yeah, I feel a lot better going to the gym's been huge because I feel stronger. I am definitely feeling better and not the aches and pains of the knee still clicks, but that's another issue, I guess. But not as much when I move around. So when I have to chase my 13-year-old around or play around with her or our dogs, I feel so much better and my feet don't hurt like they used to. My knees even don't hurt like they used to. my last video I was just putting up was talking about how every pound is like 3 to 4 pounds of pressure on your knees. And so just
Mhm.
getting that weight off has just made everything else feel better. I just feel better. My mood's better. I feel better. My focus seems to be better, which I know is another part of the GLP-1s as well. But yeah, I feel lighter, happier, better. I wake up in a good mood. I can't wait
Mm.
to see what I'm going to accomplish that day for sure. I can't wait to see what the scale says and what the measurements are. I'll measure myself every so often, and yeah, I just look forward to it now instead of kind of treading through each day. Like, oh, here's another one.
Have you, gotten rid of the old clothes, or are you saving them just in case?
I still got them. I'm hoping I never have to go back to them, but yeah, I still got them, and some of them, like this one. I mean, it's getting a little baggy on me, but I've gone a size down. I'm like, it's still not covering the belly all the way. I might need to hang around with this one for just a little bit longer. But yeah, some of them. But I've started kind of getting ready to box them up next, and hopefully that's a box that I can take to Goodwill or somewhere before too long, because I do not intend to get back to this weight and this size, because like I said, to me, the GLP-1 is a tool. I'm learning how to listen to my body better. I'm making the adjustments I need to make to hit my goals and to get where I need to be for the rest of my life. And I don't want to spoil this excellent opportunity and just throw it away
Mhm.
by doing everything I can while I'm on the medication, then giving it up when I get off or when I get down to maintenance, just saying, okay, now I'm not going to portion control at all anymore or calorie count at all. There's days I definitely don't calorie count necessarily or
Mhm.
even meal prep. But I'm starting to get that understanding of, okay, that's too much, or I need more, more protein with that meal than what I have. So maybe in the next meal I'll up the protein, or maybe I'll skip this over here. So I'm making those adjustments and I'm more aware now. I feel like I still got a long ways to go, but wherever I do go, I am planning on not getting back in these clothes. So right now, holding on to them, but with the expectation that these guys are gone before too long.
Have you had any side effects?
When I first got on it, the only thing I had was some sulfur burps. No constipation, diarrhea, none of that stuff. I was super lucky. And when I say that,
Mhm.
even more lucky than most, because I'm the guy that gets everything, all the side effects and everything. So to get none on the medication, you're lucky to begin with. And me being that guy that always gets everything, I consider myself super duper lucky. So all I got was some sulfur burps. God bless my wife. She had to put up with it more than me. So hmm, uh, she never kicked me out of the bed, so I appreciate that, and she stuck around with me. But yeah, sulfur burps is all I got until I went up to 7.5, which I just went up to in November. Yes, November. My daughter's birthday was in November, and it was the weekend of her birthday that we were celebrating. It was when I transitioned from 5 to 7.5, and I'd been on 5 almost the entire time. It was 2.5 for the first month, and we went to 5, and I stayed on 5. I said, I don't want to go up unless I don't feel it anymore. I don't want to go up. I don't want to go up. I don't want to go up. And I struggled for a couple of months, starting to see stalls, starting to not really feel it, relying on me more, which is great long term. But I felt it was a little rushed for me to be doing all the heavy lifting right then and there. And I'm like, I need some help. So I said, let's go ahead and go to 7.5. So I typically take it on Fridays, where it's my weigh in, my official weigh in date.
Mhm.
Like I was saying earlier. So I typically take it on Friday. But that Friday night, I knew we were having her sleepover with her friends. I didn't want the possibility of being sick with her friends doing a sleepover. And then that next day, that Saturday, we're going to an indoor park kind of thing for them to play. I didn't want anything to ruin it. She turned 13. It only happens once. I didn't want anything to mess it up. She actually didn't even get a birthday party last year because she was going to do some of the same stuff. And the two people she invited over couldn't come. And so she didn't even have a birthday party. So like, I'm going all out this year. It's going to be awesome. Nothing's going to get in my way. Nothing's going to get in her way. And so didn't take the medicine Friday. I took it Saturday in the afternoon, evening, because I knew it wasn't going to kick in right away. So we did the cake, the ice cream, and I didn't have much of that. I was proud of myself. Uh, and then Sunday morning, I went to church. I lead the singing and I do some of the soundboard stuff and all this and that. And at the end, I go up and I lead the song at the invitation at the end, and I wasn't feeling right. I was like, "Ooh, I don't know if I'm gonna make it up there." And I went up there and I sang, and at the end, I was like, "I gotta go." And I don't live close to my church. I got about a 40-minute drive or so to my church, so I was struggling on the way home. And by the time I got home from then to probably about lunchtime the next day, I was either sitting on or bowing over the toilet that whole time. So I can't totally blame the medication from going from 5 to 7.5 as much as I can that I know I overdid it a little bit. Plus, I went up in the medication to 7.5. So that combination of the two probably didn't work well together. But that lasted a day and a half, and then it was over. I mean, nothing else after that. So of the what have I been on? 8, 9 months or whatever I've been on it now. Literally sulfur burps for a few days up to a week, and then a day and a half of um, vomiting and diarrhea has really been it. I'll take that any day.
Now, did you have food noise before the medication, and did it go away after the medication? Did you know what food noise even was?
I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know what it was until I started watching GLP-1 videos and people were talking about food noise. And as soon as somebody said food noise, I said, I think I know exactly what you're talking about. And they went on to explain it and talk about the medication. I said, you got to be kidding. So then I got my prescription and I took it. The very first day after I took it, gone, gone. Now I still have it a little now and then, especially when I get to the end before I take my next dose.
Mhm.
But man, it went away. And I also felt this weird sensation I never felt before in my life called being full. I don't know if anybody else struggled with that, but my whole life, I have
Mhm.
never felt the sensation of being full. I've been stuffed, Thanksgiving or Christmas or what have you. Just, oh, I'm so miserable. I'm going to go take a nap now. I'm miserable. I can't move. Been that a few times. Never just normal full. And for the first time in my life, I felt full. And I said, this is what I like. I like this because I could eat more if I wanted to, but I also don't need to eat more. And I can feel that. I can hear it. I can sense it. Let me start listening to my body more. So that food noise getting out of the way, one was great because I wasn't being influenced to do the snacking and all the extra stuff that got me into this position in the first place, but it was also silenced so that I could hear my body and re kind of calibrate on what my body actually needed to get from day to day, hour to hour, what have you. So once I knew what that was and once I experienced it, I'm big fan for life. It's great.
Mhm.
Love not having the food noise so much. Again, it peeks its head every now and then, and I was watching a video earlier of I can't remember her channel, but she was talking about how having the snacks ready, knowing that you may need a snack and having the right kind of snacks there is crucial. And that's something I've been a big
Mhm.
advocate for myself. And yeah, it's absolutely true. So having those Barbell protein bars or having zero sugar jello or whatever, just whatever it may be or whatever your thing is, just having that, being prepared for something just to hit that sweet tooth or the saltiness or whatever you need just to kind of get you over if the food noise does kind of peek its head around the corner is crucial. And doing that and being prepared has made all the difference in the world. But yeah, oh man, that has just been huge, the food noise part.
Yeah, I could really relate to that fullness feeling
Mhm,
because all my life, I never really felt full until the medication, and being on the medication now for 2 years,
mhm.
it was like for the first time a couple months ago, like, I guess I was actually hungry, but I didn't recognize the feeling of being hunger, and I'm like, "Oh, what's going on here?" "Do I need to go to the doctor? Is something wrong?" This just the feels weird. "Do I need to go to an urgent care?" And, I was panicking for like an hour and a half, and all of a sudden I heard my stomach growl. I'm like, "Maybe I'm hungry." I didn't even know for sure I was hungry. Yeah. So
Right.
I could relate to that, and, just wanted to put that out there. And
Yeah.
as far as having the snacks, I take my shots on Saturday
Mhm.
because I have a lighter day at work on Saturday, and not that that's mattered because I've never really had any side effects, but I'm a creature of habit, so I just stick with Saturday, and Friday obviously is the suppression is probably the lowest. So
Mhm.
I make sure I have, with me at work, an extra yogurt, an extra protein bar, a couple of extra little snacks just in case I get hungry. And I've also noticed that on days that I do give into the urges, it's usually a Friday, yeah, which kind
Absolutely.
of makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, uh, what I noticed the most about not having the food noise is there was like a clarity. Have you
Mhm.
noticed anything like that since you don't have the food noise?
Yeah, yeah. Like I was saying a second ago, clarity that I can hear my body better and
Hmm.
feel everything and hear everything there. But also, like you're saying, that's not the only thing I'm thinking about anymore. And being the
Hmm.
one that makes the menu and makes the grocery shopping list and does the cooking, it's still always on my mind a little bit because I'm like, what are we cooking? What am I doing tonight? Do I need to thaw something out? Whatever. But it's not, oh, I need to go eat now. I'm hungry now. I can't focus on this, or I can't get this done until I get that done. And oh man, oh, something salty would be really good right now. I don't have all that. So like you're saying, yeah, just that clarity of not worrying about that, the stuff that doesn't matter truly, and focus on what does. uh, Huge, huge, absolutely. 100% that clarity has been present, been awesome.
Now, the studies that are in the works are showing that the medication is really good for cardiovascular disease. Uh, I believe the Cardiologist Association has basically endorsed it for cardiovascular disease. As a matter of fact, my cardiologist takes Ozempic not for the weight loss but for the cardiovascular benefits. They're saying there's less of a chance of you getting Alzheimer's. Again, studies aren't final. It's helping with liver disease. It's helping with addiction. Do any of these studies play into the fact, if you're going to take this medication after you reach goal, or do any of them surprise you?
They don't surprise me, but some of them overlap with just general weight loss as well. One of in fact, I think it was the last video I put out, the good, the bad, the ugly. I was talking about the ugly part of not getting your weight under control, the good and the bad of the effects of the medication, but the ugly part of not getting your weight under control from whatever reason, and the elevated chance of getting, like you said, Alzheimer's or even 13 different kinds of cancer or what have you from all the various different things you can get from being overweight and obese and just generally unhealthy with that kind of stuff, anything that's tied to the weight, a lot of that overlaps with what you're saying that the studies are pulling out. So, uh, yeah, that may still be a reason to stay on it. I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. I guess that far out because I'm still kind of fresh on
Mhm.
getting started on there, and we'll see. But yeah, I'm hoping that the weight loss part in general takes care of a lot of that stuff and removes a lot of that. I have asthma. I've had asthma my entire life. Being lighter and less winded all the time has been nice. And again, I can say cardiovascular stuff from the medicine, or I can just say weight loss and gym. It's a toss up.
Mhm.
Who do you credit for what? Maybe it's a credit to all. But yeah, I need to do more cardio. I do a lot of weightlifting, but I need to do more cardio. But yes, I would love that because I think because I've grown up my entire life struggling to breathe, uh, apparently in my sleep too, but but struggling to breathe has been such a huge thing. So if that medication is going to help with the cardiovascular side of things, it may be something I look into staying long term. I don't know, but I would love that. I would love that because that. I guess when you struggle with that, that becomes one of your biggest fears. So whether it's drowning or choking or anything with breathing,
Mhm.
it's just like I go into panic mode and I just freak out. So I definitely would love anything that would contribute to that system. So yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that as well. I have to think about that one.
When you got your medication originally, have you ever injected yourself? Were you afraid of injecting yourself? Did you have any thoughts at all? Just do it, or
No, I've injected myself. So I've gotten plenty of shots over time. If I just talk to somebody, even over a webcam with strep throat, I tend to get strep
Mhm.
throat. I don't know. So if I ever test positive for that, I'm like, give me the shot, doc, and I'm good to go. And I've been I've been on testosterone for a little while. At one point in time, that I was getting it from a um, kind of a fitness place or whatever because my doctor wouldn't prescribe it, the old doctor, and so they were injecting me.
Red flag.
Yeah, and then when I finally got on it, I had to inject myself. That one's not fun. The needle on that is rather large for the testosterone, and it's a really thick oil, and you don't want to accidentally put it in the wrong place and go into your bloodstream. It can cause all kinds of issues. So that one's scary a little bit. So I get a little more nervous with that one, especially seeing the length of the needle and the thickness of that needle. But I've also done at one time I did some um, I guess you'd call them PEDs or whatever, where I would inject myself in the stomach with the little diabetic needles for whatever the stuff was, which I didn't really get the most out of because I wasn't working out. I was doing CrossFit, which is more so cardio to me than the
Hmm.
weightlifting and all that stuff. So I kind of threw all that money away, but and it poked myself a bunch for no reason. So yeah, so I wasn't afraid of it. Wasn't afraid of it at all. And especially when I saw that this was such a small, tiny little needle, and you don't have to.
Hmm.
Well, I know if you do the compound, you will inject yourself. If it's the brand, pen deal, it'll pop on in and pop out. Most of the time, I don't feel it at all. Every
Hmm.
now and then, if I feel a pinch or feel anything, I usually realize that I probably hit a stretch mark. That tends to be kind of my thing. I got a lot of stretch marks in the stomach area, and that's where I inject. I kind of rotate around all around there.
Hmm.
But any of that scar tissue going through it can definitely hurt more and actually be less effective on the medicine. So I do try to pay attention and avoid those if possible. And sometimes I don't catch them all, and it is what it is. But no, I wasn't too worried about it. Wasn't too worried about it, especially given the size of the needle and the fact that it's in a pen.
So what are your feelings about the cost and accessibility? I mean, the price has come down some, but in my opinion, not enough. And when you're talking the billions that these companies are making per quarter, and I totally understand research costs and so forth, but they're even admitting it's profit, not all going to R&D. So what are your thoughts on making it more accessible and bringing the cost down?
Would love it. I'm all for it. The only It's like a catch-22 thing. The only concern would be the supply. If they brought the price down too much, and I hate to be this way, where only the people with money can be on the medication. The people that don't have the money can't be on it. But then if everybody can be on it and they can't meet the demand, then everybody struggles to be on it. I know we had shortages in the beginning when all this started, when people found out that Ozempic was a weight loss medication or could be used for weight loss medication, and diabetics were struggling to get the medication they needed for people that were doing weight loss or trying that out on the medication. So I get that side of it, but with all the billions they make, I'm sure they can open
Mhm,
enough factories and meet the demand. So
mhm.
you got corporate greed that's always going to come in there, especially, good Lord, especially in the pharmaceutical company. Oh, they are about the worst. So yeah, I don't think we're ever going to get there over that, but I would love to see whether it be regulated or not, I would love to see the price come down because how many people's lives have changed because of this medication?
Mhm.
It's nuts. Yeah.
Absolutely.
If I could get a genie in my three wishes or snap my finger or whatever, yeah, I would be all for it, 100%.
Do you have a magic price in mind like I do? For example, I think a reasonable price, would be like 99, $100 in that area where they could still be making decent profit,
Mhm.
and it is somewhat affordable. I mean, obviously not for everybody, and I'm sure there would be certain programs for them, but to me, that's a reasonable price. Do you have one in mind that would be,
No, if
just
I if I said anything
seeing
about
what
a price at
happens?
all, if I said anything about a price at all or had any thoughts on a price at all, it would be that more insurance companies would cover it,
Mhm.
and then those that didn't have insurance or didn't have the insurance, certain insurance that did cover it or whatever, there'd be a discounted price for them. I think
Mm,
that would be great. But now, as far as a set price,
well,
I Never really thought about it.
Well, that plays a part in my thought because I think insurance companies would go for $100 a month drug a little
Yeah.
easier than, I'm sure they're paying probably somewhere right around what the cash price is of, $400 or $500,
Mhm.
which again is why Caremark and certain insurances push to Wegovy because they're a little less expensive.
Mhm.
And I think at that $100 mark, insurance companies, may consider it, considering it helps in so many other ways. And, you yourself being down 80 to 90 pounds, probably seeing, the doctor less, less chance of cardiovascular happenings and diabetes and so forth.
Yeah, and I will say too, if my insurance didn't cover it, that was the other thing. If my insurance didn't cover it, I couldn't be on it. I can't. I don't have the money. I mean, we're not broke. We do a little better than paycheck to paycheck,
Hmm.
but it's just an expenditure that I just could not work into our budget. There's no way. Um, as prices drop, maybe, but when I was looking into it, I couldn't. I didn't see any. I didn't see any way to do it. No way at all. So the fact that insurance covered it just sold me on it. And I'm like, yes, let's go now. And I guess that's why I pushed so hard because I knew, like I was saying, I'm gonna have to transition over to Wegovy. Is it gonna work as
Hmm.
effectively or not? I don't know, but I knew that this time on it could be limited because I've had people that have gotten on it because they qualified for insurance and then they've got it. They no longer qualify for it after they hit a certain weight, or the insurance company says, "Hey, we're no longer going to cover it because your A1C's gone down," or whatever it may be. So I knew this was like a gift. I didn't want to take advantage of it, and I didn't want to let the time slip away and then I lose it and I not be as effective as I could be. So that's I think why I went gung ho when I really went at it. I again turned into full nerd mode with tracking every calorie and gram of protein and all that stuff and going to the gym and finding the balance. And I just and then watching all you guys, all the
Hmm.
channels, trying to learn as much as I could, as fast as I could, so I could implement it and get it done. Because I wanted that return on investment that I was putting into it, even though I wasn't paying out of pocket for it right away. I knew if I had to get off of it one day, I may have to put money into it, or one day I could lose it altogether. And I want to be able to look back and say, I made the changes in my life that I needed to continue this path if I lost the medication. Which, if I lost the medication today, I've made enough changes, I've lost enough weight where I think I could still be successful, but just definitely not the rate that I am right now. So I'm really happy
Hmm.
about that because it allowed me to, like I was saying earlier, kind of recalibrate how I listen to my body and how I make choices and what kind of things I surround myself with food wise or even people wise, in fact, based off of that too. If you're an alcoholic and you're trying not to be, you don't hang out with your friends that are alcoholics and you don't
Hmm.
go to the bar. And been there, done that myself, just saying. But yeah, I'm not gonna order crumble cookie and have it sitting on the counter if I know that I can't have crumble cookie, or
Right.
my wife will order it and I'm like, hide the box, hide the box. I can't see that pink box without wanting something. So, you find ways and you make the adjustments and you adapt. But if it wasn't for the medication, I couldn't do that. So, knowing again that there is the possibility it could go away, I am trying to do everything I can to get as far along as I can be, still doing it healthily, if that's a word,
Hmm.
so that I'm not, screwing myself over long term. But I want to get as far down that road as I can be just in case something changes. Because again, if they quit covering it all together, I don't know if I can afford it. I don't know what I'd have to do.
Yeah, I think this is where some of the new oral medications, the Wegovy pill just
Mhm.
came out a week or two ago. I was under the impression they were going to come in at about 150, and they came in at 200. Now the orforglipron, which is by Eli Lilly, is going to be coming out very shortly. And again, hoping it's more like the 159 uh, difference. Obviously, the manufacturer, the drug company is the Wegovy pill you have to have first thing in the morning, no food or drink for, I think it's 30 minutes, where the orforglipron doesn't have that. Now, cost wise, I mean, pills are a lot cheaper to make. They don't have to be refrigerated, so you're not paying, all the cost of transporting them. cold for the pharmacies to keep them in their very expensive refrigerators because they can't go to Home Depot and buy a refrigerator. FDA doesn't work that way. So, and being competitive, I'm hoping, one of them or both of them drop down to like 159. And I think a daily pill is easier for some people that don't like shots. And for me on maintenance, it may be a little bit more even of a thing where you don't have to worry like, oh, Friday might be my hardest day and so forth. And, if you lose a little bit slower, that's fine.
That's right.
I'll be on maintenance. So it doesn't even matter if I lose. It's just not having the food noise, not having the cravings and so forth. And I'm hoping that insurance will say, oh, 199, 159. Okay, we're going to cover a little bit more. And I always tell people, start off with, if insurance covers it, that's the medication you want to start off on.
Right. Yeah. But, to the flip side of like CVS Caremark not doing anything with Eli
Mhm.
Lilly, maybe that'll hurt Eli Lilly a little bit, and then they may
Mhm.
have to lower their prices as a result
Right.
of that. So we may have to go a little while without them, but then they may get back in the game and either lower it just for the consumer directly or may lower it enough that insurance decides to pick them back up. So this could be a win long term. We just got to see it play out. So fingers crossed.
I mean, I work in the medical field. I'm not a healthcare provider. I work in imaging. And in my 69 years of experience, I've never seen a medication come out at like the $1,200 level and then in a matter of 4 years being dropped down to about $500. That's kind of unheard of. And yet it's happened with the GLP-1. So I think there's hope.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So, again, we have to, keep advocating and have those insurance companies pick it up. And Eli Lilly, Novo Nordisk, if you're listening, lower your prices a little bit. You can make more money treating more people. Your
That's right.
profits will actually end up being larger.
hmm hmm Spot on.
Absolutely. So tell us a little more about your channel and how you started it and about your videos and so forth.
So I just right now I'm just trying to at least get one out a week. And
Hmm.
so far, I've done a couple more, but at least shooting for one a week. I'm not not documenting my journey for the sake of me saying, "Hey, I have a record of my journey out there," or I'm not documenting it so that you guys can keep up and say, "Oh, where's Chris at today?" Even though there'll be some of that along the way, I want to share what I did to get to the 80 pounds down, now 90 pounds down, or what I did to get to the 100 pounds down, whatever beyond this, to say, this is what I tried and it didn't work. But you can try it and see how it goes, but it might save you some time if you skip this. Or, hey, just so you know, this is something you might run into. And it's more about sharing helpful tips and about
Hmm.
getting the mindset correct. Like I say, conquering the scale and the mindset around all that, changing the perspective. Um, what I like to do is I like to, and I use this phrase all the time, Frankenstein my monster. So, and I tell people to do that all the time. So they may watch your channel and pick up some things and say, "Hey, I really like what she covered on that. Maybe this other stuff not so much. It doesn't really apply to me,
Hmm.
but I watched Chris and that stuff did apply to me, but this other stuff didn't." And then I go watch Nikki or I watch Round Mound or whatever. And there's little bits and pieces here I can put together
Hmm.
that fit my lifestyle that I can actually do and I can be more effective. So it's just another conversation piece, another element of something that you can pick from to Frankenstein your monster. And then I also talk about the stuff that from what I Frankenstein from, which is not just the other GLP-1 channels that I've watched and the research in the GLP-1s that I've done, but I watch a lot of guys like Coach Greg Doucette or Dr. Mike Israetel or Jeff Nippard that are all these big weightlifting gym bro guys, and they talk about the metabolic rates and what determines that and muscle mass and how to lose it and the most effective ways to do that, and knowing that that's part of it, I'm trying to incorporate that into the conversation as well, because I think sometimes when we do our research or we start getting an interest that we look into, we may tunnel vision into that one thing. Just, I'm watching GLP-1 channels, GLP-1 channels, GLP-1 channels, but I forget to watch other weight loss diet channels or
Hmm.
weight training workout channels as well, because all of that comes together to make this a success. So I do want to try to bring more of that outside conversation into the GLP-1 conversation on the channel that I watch and learn and actually go out in the real world and experiment with myself and find success or failure in and share it. And even if something didn't work for me, it might work for somebody else. But if you don't know, you don't know. So just putting it out there on the table is something I want to do. Have the conversation and really, truly, kind of back to one of your earlier questions, kind of break the stigma about talking about it. You know, the more people that are
Mhm.
talking about GLP-1s, and especially the fellas that can break through that stigma as well. I mean, that's great. I'd love to see more guys have channels. I'd love to see more channels
Mhm.
grow out there and this become more of a thing where people don't say, how'd you lose all that weight? Are you on Ozempic? That's such a diminishing kind of comment of all the hard work that we put into our actual weight loss journey, because it's not the medication. I said before, the medication is a tool to help you do it. It takes
Mhm.
all the other work. So to kind of get rid of that part of the conversation, and then to counter that with just speaking about the truth of it, speaking about the ups and downs, the facts of, like one of the videos I was watching today, it's not going to do all the work for you, but people think it does. And breaking through that, I would say, a lie or that misinformation or whatever you want to call it, and just having that other voice out there. So again, I'm not an expert at anything. I'm kind of a test dummy with some of this stuff, guinea pig, and I test stuff out on myself and try new things and try to incorporate things that work for other people. And if it work for me, excellent. I'm going to make sure I share it, and maybe it'll cut somebody's time down on when they're getting to their weight that they want to get to, or maybe they won't experience some of the side effects because they implemented this or started taking that supplement, or maybe the journey was a little smoother because they they heard from Lori, from Chris, from Nikki, from all these guys, these different tips, and that was enough to make it a more smooth ride than riding
Mhm.
over a brick road or gravel road that's just boom, 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 boom the whole way. And it's just nice and smooth and no complaints. And that's like going to the gym. If you hate going to the gym, you're not going to go to the gym. If you hate being on this weight loss journey, you're not going to stick to the weight loss journey. So finding
Mhm.
ways to share stuff that made it a smoother journey for me, that may make it a smoother journey for somebody else, may mean they stick with it longer, may mean they jump into it earlier, may mean that they can, you know, again, they can be a voice and speak out about it more and start breaking the stigma around it as well. So we can start knocking down these walls and knocking down these barriers and helping each other and just reaching down and just saying, "Hey, come on with me. Let's go. We're all in this together." And it really is a really cool community to be part of. So I'm excited about that. I just wanted to be another voice.
So I know scale is in your channel, but do you get upset if the scale goes up or doesn't move at all? I know some people are so traumatized by this
Mhm,
that I think it's Shape'a makes a scale that's not even by numbers;
mhm.
it's by colors, and you're just in a zone. Uh, does it not moving or going up affect you?
Effect, yes, but it should. I think it because it's a system of measurement, and it's usually pretty accurate. Now, how accurate? I know every scale is going to be different. They're not 100%
Hmm.
accurate, but as far as accurate, saying if you're going up or down is basically what I'm saying. So if I
Hmm.
see it going up, then I know a couple things. Either I've slipped up recently, or I always see it go up after I go to the gym. So if I go to the
Hmm.
gym on Tuesday, then Wednesday morning when I wake up and I get on the scale, probably going to be up. It may even be up a little bit Thursday morning too, compared to Tuesday. But then it usually starts dropping because I no longer have that inflammation or holding on to that extra water or what have you. And I understand that because I've started to understand what controls that number on the scale. At one point in time during the holidays, it was my first holidays on the medication. And we also had this huge emergency, IT emergency at work. We all had to go into the office for several weeks, where they were feeding us, or some people were bringing treats, or I couldn't meal prep the way I've been meal prepping. And I'm like, this is exactly what I need. Geez, thanks. And I gained a couple of pounds there, but I've now lost them and I'm pretty much beyond where I was before all of that.
Hmm.
But I know it's going to be like that because weight loss journeys don't go like this. There's a
Right.
lot of this along the way, but
Hmm.
knowing that that's going to be part of it is healthy, and not worrying about it too much, because you can build muscle, you can retain water. Um, the ladies, with the monthly visitor, or other
Hmm.
things can contribute to that as well. Of course, that's stuff that I can't speak to, which is why I love that there's the other channels out there. Like I was saying earlier, everybody brings something different to the table.
Hmm.
But again, understanding what can affect that is huge. So when I see the number, does it affect me? Yes, but not always in a negative way if it goes up, and not always in a positive way if it goes down or what have you. But I do it every day to get an idea of where I'm at and if I need to make adjustments along the
Mhm.
way. So I'm not waiting too long. I started eating, I think it was wheat bread. I threw some wheat bread into the diet one week because everybody's like, oh, whole grain wheat and the fibers and all this and that's gonna be great. And whatever, my body did not like it. I instantly went up and I couldn't drop. I got it out and it started dropping again. I said, okay, that's not something I want to do again. I'm not gonna play with that again for a
Mhm.
little while, or at least in smaller quantities. So effect, yes, but again, it affects me in the way that it brings my attention to it. It allows me to think if I need to adjust anything or not, or if I just want to ride it out. And sometimes I gain weight by the end of the week, and I'm okay with that because again, it is like this. But as long as the overarching line is going down, I'm happy. If there's a week or two I go up, or if I know I messed up and it goes up, I'm definitely not surprised. But if I know I did everything I was supposed to do and that number goes up, I clearly didn't do something, or I'm holding onto the water weight or what have you, but it allows me to evaluate that. I think that's big, evaluating where we are along the way. And again, seeing if we need to make little tweaks to make adjustments. Because more than likely, if I say I did everything right and the scale didn't go down, I probably didn't do everything right. There was probably something I forgot to take into account for. And that's on me. I got to be transparent with myself and I got to be honest with
Mhm.
myself if I'm going to do this. So sometimes the scale won't lie, but I will, and it'll call me out on it. So I appreciate that. It holds me accountable. So effect, yes, but not in a huge way. And I know it does other people, and that's why I tell them don't weigh every day if it's going to bother you that much.
Mhm.
Or get one like mine. It's got an app, and it'll send the number to the app. Just don't even look at it. Just stand there for a few minutes. Da 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 da. Get off, and the app will track it. And you can go in there at the end of the week or something. And say, okay, it's moving in the right direction. That way, you're not looking on it from a day to day basis. But I like doing it. That's just my method.
Well, I'm a daily weigher too, and I use it to, see how the rest of the week should go. If
Mhm.
I'm doing good, and it's like, okay, they're having pizza at work. Maybe I'll
Mhm.
have one piece of pizza. If I'm not doing good, nope, I'm going to bring my lunch. It kind of gives me that opportunity. So
Absolutely.
I get that. So I tend to wrap these up with asking you what your best advice would be to somebody thinking about starting a GLP-1 medication.
Oh wow. Best advice would be, I guess the best advice would be, and we kind of already hit on that, is the GLP-1 is not the end all be all. It is just a tool.
Hmm.
It is just a tool to help you on even more than a weight loss journey, but for conversation's sake, weight loss journey. But like you said, all the great effects that can come from it as well. But it's just a tool. It's just a supplement almost, just to help you get there, to supplement what you're already doing, because you should already be dieting. You should already be trying to live a healthier lifestyle. You should already
Hmm.
be trying to make changes in your life if you're not happy with where you are. It's just a tool to help you or to supplement that extra, give you that little extra to help get there. It is not a magical weight loss drug that once you take it, you're going to lose weight. I've known people that have gained weight. Again, I have gained weight on it a time or two. But if you don't do the work, it's not worth it. It is a tool.
Hmm.
If you're going to dig a hole, you can either use a shovel, you can use a backhoe, a huge bulldozer, or whatever. You kind of need to find the right tool to use. And for a weight loss journey, it takes several tools, and this is a huge one that can impact you. So remembering that it's not a full lean on the medication to do all the work. No, no, it's you, and it's just a tool to help get you where you need to be. That would be mine. Just understanding that right off the bat, that it's
Hmm.
not going to do all the work for you. You have to do the work.
Well, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to do this. Again, I want to remind everybody that Chris's information is going to be linked in the description. Please remember to like and subscribe, then hop over to Chris's channel and do the same. With that, this is a wrap.